This morning, when I was putting dishes away, I thought about a book that I read. The book is called Be Ye Transformed. I thought about how it sat on my bookshelf for 20 years, over 20 years, and I thought, like, I wasted time. I should have read that book when I first got it. And I wish I would have read it when I first got it. As soon as I had that thought, I heard this crash, and I heard the Lord say, the Holy Spirit said it was the clock. So I went into my study, and the clock that I had to fix yesterday because it was fall back, and it was secure on the wall. Today, it fell off the wall, and I looked, it was in pieces, and I heard the Holy Spirit said, either you believe your testimony and what I said, or you don't. And the testimony was from earlier this year. In January, I went to my son's house. Before I went, I called him and said, I asked if it was okay for me to go. I went over there, and in my mind, I said, I'm going to leave my house within 20 minutes. Well, I checked the front door to see if there were any packages. There were, so I had to unpack those boxes because I knew there were some things in it that I needed to take over to my son's house. I noticed that the Christmas wreath was still in the door, so I took that off, put it away, and as I was doing this, I was thinking, I'm wasting time doing all this. I could do this when I get back. When I left, I wasn't sure if I had locked the door or not. I believed I did, but I wanted to check, so I turned around. I was at the end of my street. I turned around, checked the front door, and left. When I got on the main road, I wasn't able to get in the lane that I usually like to get in. I was in the right lane because there were so many cars out there, and because of the traffic, I stayed in the right lane. A car pulled out in front of me going slow, and then another car pulled out in front of it going even slower, and I wanted to go faster, but I couldn't. So then next thing, there was a light, stopped at the light. I was able to move into the left lane because I didn't want to be in the right lane where the van was going really slow. Next, once the light turns green, the van takes off, and I thought to myself, of course, the van wants to go faster now. So I was able to get around the cars that were going a little slower. I get to the next light, and lo and behold, the van was there. The van had a bumper sticker that had Jeremiah 29:11, and it said, God has a perfect plan for you. And I received it. I went to my son's house, told him what happened, and then when I left, I ended up going home and calling my daughter, and when I was telling her what happened, I heard the Holy Spirit say that even though you thought you were behind, you didn't leave when you wanted to, you didn't get in the lane that you wanted to, sometimes you didn't know what lane to get into, you weren't going as fast as you wanted to, with all of that going on, you still were where I wanted you to be. And he said, this is the manifestation of Psalms 37:23. And the New Living Translation says, God directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. And I thought that was amazing. And so this morning, when he said, either I believe my testimony and what he said, or I don't, I had to think about that. You know, I thought I was wasting time in that testimony, and I thought I was wasting time all those years when I didn't read that book. But in fact, God redeems time. And when you look at redeeming time, Colossians 4 talks about it, Ephesians 5:16 talks about it, but there's only one that can redeem anything, and that is Jesus. Jesus redeemed time, which means buys back. He bought back time on the cross, on the finished work of the cross. So I thank God for that. You know, I didn't lose any time. Either I believe the word or I don't. Either I believe Jesus, who is the word, or I don't. Either I believe my testimony or I don't. God can redeem time. Anything that we thought that we lost, in actuality, we gain through Christ. Anything that we thought we wasted, it is gain for Christ. I may not have gotten, if I would have read that book 20 years ago, my knowledge and my maturity wasn't the same then. So I just want to encourage you that God is a redeemer of all things. There's nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing wasted that God hasn't already bought back for you. God bless you.